So I grew up afraid of the term hop alley. That's Hopalley. That was a term my mother used because, my parents had communication language issues because they were from different countries. My dad was from the south side of Chicago, and my mother was from Iowa. And so because of that, my dad met her and he goes, okay, you're Protestant, but you're going to convert and you're going to be Catholic and we're going to have all the children God will give us. And so 15 years later, there's my mother living on the south side of Chicago with 12 children. Obviously, Dad was a little connected to God. So anyway, the mom had this term, hop alley, and was like this language. She really had a hard time with everybody on the south side and how they always had like cultural slurs and swore. So she was going to raise little, ladies and gentlemen. And she did that through the term hop alley. So to explain that is hop alley was like, you couldn't put Hop Alley was putting the gallon of milk on the table without pouring it in the glasses. Hop Alley was going out the door with shoes, dress shoes without socks. But this is the 60s, so nobody was wearing shoes. But Hop Alley was doing that. Hop Alley was, she would walk through every day, like through our house, and Mom was pissed that she said Hop Alley, and she'd walking through, this place looks like Hop Alley. We'd all just jump up and clean the house and go crazy. And then when I was 14, Mom saw me smoking on the street, and she pulls me off, and I'm all worried like I'm in trouble, and she goes, honey, if you're going to smoke, at least don't walk and smoke. It's so unladylike, so Hop Alley-like. He goes, if you're going to kill yourself, sit still and do it like a lady, It's like, oh, okay, Mom. So this was like the secret mom code, and we kept, how are we going to figure this out? So girls in sweating in Hop Alley was only done by horses, okay, or not in Hop Alley, by horses, okay. Men sweat, men perspire and women gloat. That was what Mom would say. And nobody was able to say the word fart in our family. I thought that was really a 4-letter word, and we weren't able to say it. We had to say, we pass gas. So I remember being on the playground and telling some guy he passed gas, and he hit me. I mean, it's like, what's wrong with you? What did you just say? So this was our life. And then I went off to college, and I was talking about Hop Alley, and I'm walking around, telling everybody, this place looks like Hop Alley, and they'd all spring up and clean up the joint just like they did for my mother, and then I raised my kids, and my kids are talking about Hop Alley. The other day I was going to put a faux brick wall in our kitchen, and my son goes to me, Mom, Grandma would say that looks a little Hop Alley-like, and I'm going, and so I put in the better faux wall, and he doesn't know it's fake, so that's good. And so anyway, so then Mom and Dad Dad was getting really sick. He had dementia, and he was kicked out of Independent Living Center. So Mom and Dad came to live with me and my husband. We got a house, so they had a room to live in, and our 2 boys. And my mom was waiting for my dad to die because she wanted to be in the good room and not the Hop Alley room. And so then he was gone for about 3 years, and then my mom was dying. So I was told by the doctors that she had a perforated colon that couldn't be operated on. So I went to see my mother, and I told her this, and we're talking, and I go, are you afraid, and how do you feel about this? And we were talking about heaven and hell, and I go, look at it this way, Mom. If you go to Hop Alley, I said, I think my brother Stephen will be there, because he never tucked in his shirt, so, you'll go home. And she said, oh, this is good. So then the next day, all my brothers and sisters come to my house, and we're all standing around. And, Mom's dying any day now. I'm trying to give her some morphine, and all of a sudden, Mom starts to cry. And my sister goes, why are you crying? And she's going, because you're all going to fight over my money. My mother had $12 and 12 children. I mean, this wasn't going to happen, and my sister goes, no, Mom, but because we're from Hop Alley, we're certainly going to fight over those drugs. I mean, that's, and so anyway, so after Mom died, I Googled Hop Alley, wondering where this came from, right, this term. And it turns out that Hop Alley was a real thing in the turn of the century. It was Chinatown, and because people were on the hops from the opium. So here was my mother, who was like the protector of any kind of language and inappropriate talk, okay, basically telling her children that they looked like they lived in an opium den throughout their whole life, and that their house looked like an opium den. you know, and I'm like thinking in my head, I'm going, holy God. I go, would I have told her? Would I have told her if she was alive that, you know, she was using this god-awful cultural slur her whole life to describe her children? And I'm thinking, probably not. And I realized that if I couldn't, because my sister-in-law is Chinese American, you know, my mother would be still apologizing to her, you know, and so I wouldn't have told her because it's too mean-spirited, and people in Hot Valley, you know, people don't do that if they don't live in Hot Valley. So thank you.